It is the 50th show for like, yeah, we were getting like the whole company seems to be getting sentimental and reflective on all that sort of thing. And then TJ pointed out to me the other day, he's like, we've done 50 shows. I was like, that's pretty crazy. It's not that crazy. A lot of shows out there have done a lot more episodes, but that's something. And the craziest part to me, TJ, is we haven't even really figured out what the show is yet. We're getting closer. I think it's going really well. You're not even in Chicago. How many shows have you and I done where we're sitting in the same room? Like 8 of the 50, maybe?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
You know? So I'm fired up about that. I think what this show will eventually become is going to be a lot more fun and a lot more entertaining. But yeah, it's been a fun ride so far. So I thought it'd be fun to look, because there have been a lot of ebbs and flows. I mean, there have been I would say, you know, in June and July when I'm doing shows out of my apartment in LA and you're in New York and it's like 3 a.m. Eastern and I'm going a little crazy because like I'm just like talking into a microphone by myself. Yeah, kind of like I'm doing now, by the way. That feels very similar right now. I'm sweating my fucking balls off here because this studio is 1,000 degrees. It reminds me of being back in the apartment in LA. But yeah, I'm glad we're here now. I think the show is going well, but I thought it'd be fun to look back on stuff, and I thought it'd be interesting to read reviews. I don't know. Read. How do the people think we're doing? You know. So I had
pretty good.
I had you poll. What did I have you poll? Like reviews and feedback and comments.
So I went through the first 10 episodes specifically, and then some of our Apple Podcast reviews to see how people felt about the show when it was first announced and what they thought it would be, and as they sort of saw it come to light, how they felt about it.
Yeah.
Some nice, some not so nice.
Yeah, I was curious about the not nice ones because I think the not nice ones are funnier. I don't need to be told I'm good. It's better when I'm a little upset and a little aggrieved. So yeah. But we can read some nice ones because I do appreciate. I also don't want to. I don't want to encourage people to just talk shit about me either. Right. Yeah. I don't want it to be like the only way Titus will acknowledge me is if I shit all over him. I don't want to do that either. So we can read some nice things, but I don't do well with praise. So I thought it'd be funnier to read mean ones. But yeah, have at it. I haven't read any of these. You sent me the list, and then I tried to log into my Barstool email to read them, and I couldn't do it. So I said just save it for the show, and here we are now.
These are from episode 0. So the announcement with Big Cat and PFT.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I lost my mind. Someone pointed that out. I lost my mind about college football having a week 0. Why don't they just call it week 1? And then someone immediately was like, you literally did episode 0 on your show, which is fair. But go ahead.
Nick P said, Mark, I've listened to you since day one of Part of My Take. Never once listened to your own shows. You're always great, but I always question whether you got it or not. After listening to you on the Yak the last few days, I confidently believe you get it. Looking forward to listening to your own show for the first time.
Hell yeah. That's important to me, TJ. You know that. I want to be a guy who gets it.
That was a trend in these first comments, I guess, when you went on the Yak. That was the...
If I remember right, I went on the Yak, and Dan asked if I wanted to do the wet wheel, and I didn't really fully understand what it was. And then I said, I don't want to come across like a tryhard, because I think if I go in there and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do I would love to get wet. That would be so cool. Then everyone can see right through it that I'm just, being a little bit of a tryhard. But also I didn't want to be a pussy about it. So I just said, like, whatever makes people think that I'm a guy who gets it, Dan, is what I want to. And I think people ran with that. Yeah. So I don't know. But I think me saying that kind of ruins my
the mystique. Yeah.
The mystique of a guy's being a guy who gets it. I think when you're begging
more so scared of the negative reaction if you fuck that up.
Yeah.
Michael Maboy said, best sports podcast I've ever heard. Easy.
That can't be true.
It was episode 0 of a new show that had never been around. That can't be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even listen to it. Yeah, yeah, we launched like the podcast feed, and we haven't even put any content out, and people are just like, damn, dude, this is the best shit I've ever listened to. I've ever watched. I'll take it.
Benjamin Rivard said, why are you wearing women's pants, Mark?
What was I'm trying to think of what that would have been. Was I wearing joggers?
I don't know.
We're probably wearing our joggers. What are your thoughts on joggers, TJ?
I love a good pair of Rhoback joggers.
Right?
I think that they're make you feel good.
Yeah, I thought joggers were, but maybe I do have long legs, so maybe the joggers were looking like capris more. I don't know. I'd have to go back.
I think that was probably the first time they had seen you. Like the angles that we have at our podcast studios are not exactly the most flattering in the world because there's like nothing in front of you and the cameras are kind of low, so they're shooting upward into you.
Yeah.
So that might have played like that happens to a lot of people when they go on the yak for the first time when they're wearing shorts because their pants.
Oh yeah, and then you get the crotch shot. Yeah. That's that's probably what that was.
Bree commented, "Just here for TJ." So,
I just think that one.
Don't say I never did anything for you.
Awesome.
And then Jabroni said, "Sincere post. Titus is clearly a thoughtful, smart, and talented person. I'm confident his content with respect to other sports, football, would be interesting. Hope to see that come through."
That I actually wrote that one. That was me. I sprinkled that one in there. No, I think we're gonna do more. I don't know. I want to. So this is the dilemma I have, TJ. Is like I am very much interested in other sports. Football season coming up, obviously. Like we just had Brandon on. I want to talk. I'm going to on the show I'm going to do with Brandon. We're going to talk about every sport, just kind of whatever shit people are talking about around the country. That's what we're going to talk about. I want to do other sports. I want to have guests on that are football players that played like just whoever's interesting to me. I want to come on this show and I want to talk to them. But at the same time, like I've carved out a nice little niche for myself as a college basketball guy, and I think I have to be true to that as well. So we still have to hone in on that because I want to talk about the NBA throughout the regular season, which I give myself like 2 weeks before I'm like, all right, never mind. I changed my mind. I'm out on this. But yeah, that's what I think I want the show to be. But I don't know because I think I imagine like once college basketball season comes back and gets rolling, I will just divert right back into my old ways of just like caring immensely about who's overrated and who looks like a fraud in college basketball. Like in the first week, I'm gonna go to the Champions Classic in Chicago, and I will throw out every plan I had about like, talking about the week that was in the NFL on the show and like, should we get an NFL guest to break down that big AFC East game last night? As soon as I go to the Champions Classic and I come away thinking that's going to be a great Champions Classic, by the way. It's going to be, I mean, it's supposed to be every year, but I think this year is going to be awesome. I'm going to go to it, and then I'm just going to immediately be like, all right, forget every other sport. I'm locked in on college basketball again. But we got to figure that out. So, and we will. But I will definitely at this company be talking about more than college basketball. That's why I came to work here.
Yep. This was after the first episode, so we had Fran Fraschilla, we had Mike Rutherford, and Brandon's first appearance. Charlie Wooding said, "First podcast review, Fran, A, Mike, A, Brandon Walker, F. Wishing you the best, Mark. Excited for you and your new chapter."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
that's great. I love that.
No, I remember the first show. Everything besides Brandon Walker. Don't let that negative energy guy sully your show. Hopefully, he's never on again.
Oh shit! So we probably lost that guy along the way. That guy was listening. He probably has given up by now. If I remember right, those first shows we did were like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah, because we had like 3 interviews per show.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I just like, dude, I was so in my head about. That was such a fucking whirlwind for me. That was like,
oh yeah,
it was a million different things. It was like the number one thing was that I was just being killed for breaking up with Tate. Like I was just being, and that fucked me up. I won't lie. I would like to pretend like I'm above that and I don't read comments and I don't, feel that, but I 100% felt that. And at the same time, it's like I'm a new kid at school stepping into the Barstool office. I'm trying to launch a show that I don't really know what I should probably at some point stop saying that I don't know what the show is. I know what we're figuring it out. It's a good show. I like where we're at now since I've gotten to Chicago. I think the show's gotten a lot better. and the numbers reflect that. And it seems that people have enjoyed the shows from Chicago a lot more. But when we were starting, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. I don't even know. I remember meeting with like the sales team and the bookers and everything, and they were like, so what is your show? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna like talk about shit. I was like, I've never done a show solo, and I don't know how this is going to go or what this is going to be. And then on top of it, like the whirlwind of getting thrown into like the Barstool world where I'd like dip my toes, but I have never like cannonballed in, where I'm doing live streams and I'm doing like Out and About, which I absolutely love. Joey and Pat ruled. I love doing that show, but I just like walked out of that room after that show, and I was like, I'm not at Fox anymore. This is not Fox Sports. So I don't know why I did that, but apologies to everybody. Shout out to anybody that sat through all 3 hours of those initial shows. I don't know. I felt like if I got like an array, I was throwing a lot of darts at the board, and I knew Mike really well. Fran, I knew like in a professional capacity, but I don't like, Fran's not a guy that I'm grabbing a beer with, you know? And then Brandon, I was kind of new to, and I was like, I'm going to throw one Barstool guy in there, so at least like the Barstool crowd will come. But then I had 3 guests on the first show and ended up being like an absolute marathon of a show.
Yeah.
That by the time everybody listened to it, like all the stuff we talked about was irrelevant probably.
Right, because it was all like conference previews that were like starting the next day.
Mm-hmm. It was, looking back, dude, like I in some ways launching during college basketball, during March Madness, like the lead up to March Madness. It was March Madness. We launched in March. Was great. It obviously, we got a huge boost. A lot of people that are interested in March Madness joined right away, subscribed right away. But man, that fucking sucked for me. That was like like trying to like start something new when it's all the eyeballs are on you. Like, you know that this is like the 3 weeks that people care about. These are the 3 weeks that I get measured by, and I'm starting something new and I don't even know what it is, and I've never done this before on my own, and I'm at a new company where it was insane, but we're here now. So yeah.
There is like a negative aspect to like starting at a peak, because like right after March Madness is the college basketball offseason, so there was going to be an assumed regression, and like that might not have looked at the greatest on the charts or whatever, what we started here and then like we're down here, but I think we're like, as far as I can tell, going back up on that parabola now, which is never mind. I try to not care too much. I know you do, and everyone at Barstool has to care about the number. I'm not blind to the business side of this, but it'll drive me. I'm someone that'll be driven crazy by it. So I just try to like do the best shows I can do. And yeah, those like during the off season, and especially once the NBA Finals ended, and you know, like all there was the draft. I was definitely like, these shows fucking suck. And we would get to shows and I'd be like, this was horrendous. So I haven't felt that way since I got to Chicago. Maybe I'll feel that way after this show. I don't know. I feel like this is going well. Maybe a little too much navel gazing for us at 50 episodes. Maybe like this is something you're supposed to do at like 500 episodes. But yeah, I haven't really felt that in Chicago, and I think we got a good thing going. And that's what's really exciting me is that you're not even here yet. And we don't even have the studio yet. We don't even have like the real setup yet. We don't even have the real office vibe of everybody being around each other. And being creatively inspired by being in the same space as other people that are here that are funny and interesting. So I think that's going to be great for us, and I'm really fired up for that. But yeah, it's crazy that we launched this thing and didn't really know anything, and here we are now, having some fun. So anything else? Are there bad? What are like the worst ones? Give me the worst ones. I can think yeah, hold on. There was a lot of, I had a huge screenshot. The people, when we had NIT Stu and Coleman Crawley on the same episode, the comments were overwhelmingly positive about those guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like these are the reasons why we like college basketball, that sort of like line of commenting, which was cool.
Hell yeah.
Somebody says Titus is the best thing to happen to Barstool since Big Cat.
That's not true at all. But that's not true. This is why I don't like praise. Is because like, I'm thankful that people say nice things. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it, but also it's like, I mean, that's not true. It's just like patently false. So, but thank you nonetheless.
We had a 1-star Apple podcast review from when the podcast got announced and marched. Barstool is trash, and unfortunately now is Titus. Why Titus? Why? 3 exclamation marks.
No.
1 star.
Oh no, an asterisk guy.
Yeah.
A barstool guy. Oh man, that stinks. Do you think that guy's listened to any shows since we started?
Probably all of them, if I understand our haters correctly.
Probably all of them, yeah. Probably like waiting for me to just slip up and drop like 5 slurs and then say I knew it. I knew
this
it.
one was from this month. Nice to know talent. I don't think Titus actually realizes what a moron he is. He deflects a lot of jokes about it, but deep down I think he doesn't realize how stupid he is in actuality. He carries himself like he thinks he's smart, but just is the dumbest MFer ever.
Is that Brandon?
Thoughts?
People hate. So I've found I'm obviously I'm someone who will be very self-deprecating. I'm not afraid to, when I say something very stupid, acknowledge that I said something very stupid. And I like to think that that's part of my brand. And I think that that's how I've become a little successful, because I think in a sea of sports media takesmen who take themselves super seriously. I just saw Colin Cowherd hired Shannon Sharp to The Volume, and they were doing like a little promo video, and Colin said something about like one of the things I really respect about you is that you just fucking grinding, man, and this job is such a grind. It's a grind. And Shannon's like, it's a fucking grind. And whenever I watch like guys like that, I'm like, this is not a grind. This is not. I'm like, Steve, did you see the video of Steven Adams, the juxtaposition, the LeBron talking about the bubble, and then Steven Adams and LeBron was like, I was like in a Russian prison having to play basketball and then Steven Adams was like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't Syria, mate. That's how I feel about sports media. So like, I think that has served me well, that like I don't take myself super seriously. But what I will say, TJ, is that the haters, that kind of disarms them, and if you beat them to the punch, they get really fucking mad. If you're someone that like, so I think that's what this guy's got going on, is that like I'll laugh at how I'm a moron, and this guy doesn't like that because he wants to be able to tell me I'm the moron. You know what I mean? Like I'm shooting myself before he can shoot me, and I don't think he likes that at all. But yeah, I do know what a moron I am. Yes, I am an absolute moron. I went to Ohio State as a freshman. I wanted to be a doctor. I majored in math for my first semester, and now I work at fucking Barstool Sports talking about the Little League World Series with Rico Bosco. Yes, I'm fully aware of how my life turned out. Like I'm not blind to these realities. Like I get it. Somewhere along the line, something went haywire, and here we are now. But no, that's not too bad of criticism. I'll take that. Whatever.
Yeah, there wasn't too many overtly bad ones. Like maybe if anything was over the line, it got auto flagged or something. There was a lot at the beginning criticizing the move and criticizing I guess the split from the last spot that you worked at. But I think that people have started to
it's chill. People have chilled out.
You or not.
Yeah, I think at this point. Well, I was in like the middle ground too, where I felt like the Stoolies. I like the Stoolies, but it also I'm setting this up for the butt, as you know. I like the Stool. The Barstool fans are incredible. Like the especially since I moved to Chicago, and like bumping into people on the street has just been so freaking fun, and I very much love that part. But I will say there is like a faction of Stoolies that I don't know if it's jealousy or what, but if it's not just me, I've seen them do this to other people. When you get hired at Barstool, it feels like you're under a huge microscope, because it's like, why did they hire that guy and not me? Like, if this guy's not actually good, then I'm going to let them know that they fucked up and they should have hired. I should be in his seat. I should be, and so when I got hired here and I started, like, this was just the perception. It's definitely not, and not anymore at all, but I don't even think it was ever, but this is what it felt like, TJ. It was like I was in the middle ground of like all the people that followed me along the way at the Ringer and Fox and whatever else were now at like one of those reviews you read, like, oh no, man, I can't believe you went to bar. I gotta say goodbye here. Now I'm done with you. Goodbye. But then I also felt like there were a lot of Stoolies that were like, let's wait and see with this guy. Is this a guy who gets it or not? Is this a guy who... And I was like stuck in the middle ground where like I didn't have like the Barstool. I wasn't like folded into the Barstool world yet, but I also had like stabbed everyone else in the back seemingly. And that was a weird spot to be in. But I think all that's died down. I think you're right. Like I think the And I knew it would. PFT was great with that, by the way. Like PFT, I remember early on, like he pulled me aside and talked to me about it all, and was just like, this is how this is going to go. People are going to say you're a scumbag and yada yada yada, and then all those same people are going to listen to your show and follow your shit, and they're gonna, and then you're gonna, hopefully, if everything goes right, you'll be added to the list of I hate Barstool, but I like blank 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 blank, And
I think
dream.
It's funny too. Like you're probably, and this is not pumping air into your sails, but people will probably see you come into Barstool, and every place you've worked at before, like you were like the disruptive, like counterculture. Like, oh, this guy's like different because he wears a Hawaiian shirt. But at Barstool, you're like the straight man. Like,
I'm the straight man. Well, that's what
the traditional media type, which is interesting. And I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, this guy like talks X's and O's," which is different for us.
Yeah. Dude, that's another thing. I felt like I was in like the middle ground. It's like I always felt when I worked at Fox, not that I didn't fit in. I loved Fox, all that sort of. But I was like trying to get on TV a little more, and I was like poking to like, throw me on the desk for halftime of a FS2 DePaul versus Butler game. Like, why am I not, like, just throw me a bone here. And I always felt like the Fox people, who they all like, I had great relationships with those people, and I always will. But I felt like they always looked at me like, nah, man, that's not your thing. You're the guy who tells dick jokes on the internet. Like, you're just kind of a buffoon. And then, when I came here, it's like, I have felt that as well, where it's like, even people that seem to like me are like, I like him, but like I don't know if he's like really Barstool material. Is he like a guy that's gonna take his shirt off and and shotgun a beer during a case race? Like I don't know. Is he? And somehow the whole time I'm just sort of me, just kind of going through the world, and like I somehow have a reputation as way too bro-y in some circles, and then a reputation as like boring as shit, buttoned up man in other circles, and I don't know how any of this happened, but here we are. I think we got a good thing going. I think that's nice. I think I can code switch, you know what I mean? Like I think we get like straight-laced guys on the show, and I can button it up and talk to them like professionals, and then we get jackasses on the show and I can dumb it down. And I think that's what I'm going to try to make this show, is just like put anybody else in that chair over there and I can talk to them. But we'll see. I don't know. That was nice. That was fun. What for you, as you've worked on the show, what would you say is like your favorite memory from the show so far? And the long storied history of the Mark Titus Show.
I think the times that you've had your dad on is pretty cool, and obviously that's not a new thing for you. You've had your dad on everything you've done, but to me, I think those interviews like are more important for bigger reasons, if you understand what I'm saying. Like to do stuff like that is cool. My dad came to the office this week for the first time, and I sort of like saw that sort of the same sort of side of it, where it's like he wants to get involved, and giving him that chance, I think stuff like that is cool to do.
My dad always apologizes. I always call him every time he comes on when I'm driving back home, and I'm like, Dad, you killed it. I both at Barstool, Fox, and everywhere else, every time he comes on one of my shows, I call him on the way home, and I'm like, that was awesome. That was so good. And I mean it. I'm like, that was exactly what I wanted it to be. And he's like, I'm so sorry. He goes, that... And then he points out, he's like, no one's going to listen to that or like that. And he's not entirely like... he like notices the numbers are like never great when he comes on, but I tried to tell him, I was like, Dad, I think it's like an indie movie almost. It's like I think like there's not a mass appeal to my father coming on to talk about Indiana high school basketball. I understood that when I asked him to come on, but I think the people that did enjoy it, that's super important to me, that like those people that those people are like, holy shit, I never thought I'd listen to a national sports podcast at Barstool talk about, Kokomo's basketball team in Kokomo, Indiana, and the good old days of the North Central Conference in Indiana high school, so I think like there's value in that. And I guess like that's something I want to do more of, by the way, not to have my dad on, but like try to figure I'm glad you said NIT Stu and Coleman's was well received, because I want to have guys like that on who are not necessarily like the biggest names in college basketball media, but are passionate and a little oddballish. I say that affectionately to both of them. I like them both a lot, but I'm a little oddballish too. We all are.
They talk about the NIT and Cinderella story too. It's courtside at like Colgate. Like that's obviously not mainstream stuff.
Yeah,
but
I don't want
to shine a light on.
Yeah, I would love to have more guys like that on. So, all right, I think that's enough. I'll say this though, because I don't do this well enough or often enough. But thank you to everybody. I genuinely mean that. I know it's moronic to do this at 50 episodes. Like we're still a very brand new show, and I shouldn't be looking back reflecting. But I thought with the Barstool 20th anniversary, I don't know. It was funny to me. it was a funny idea to me. But thank you to everybody that's been along for the ride. I do think the Chicago shows have been a lot better. And it does mean the world to me that I do now feel very comfortable working at this company, and I feel very secure with what this show is. And even though I keep saying I don't really know what the show is, I kind of have an idea of what the show is, and I think we got a good thing going. So the best way, I don't want to harp on it too much, but like if you do want to continue to support the show, the best way you could do that is help out our sponsors. Like that is a very big deal. If it's all the same to you, like I know the realities of the world, like some of the sponsors, some of the ads we might read, you're like, that does not apply to me. I'm not interested in that. I get that. But if it's all the same to you and you're someone who's like in the market for some of these things, that helps us out immensely. That is one way that you can make a big difference. Another thing, and I've said this before, if you're someone who watches us on YouTube, subscribe on the Apple feed, subscribe on Spotify, even if you have no intention of ever listening because you're like, I want to watch it on YouTube, and vice versa. If you're someone that always listens and you're like, I'm never going to watch a podcast, I can't believe people actually do that. If you subscribe on YouTube, that's still, as dumb as it sounds, that makes a massive difference for us. That would help us immensely. So I would ask for people to help us out in that way too. And then yeah, I guess like the other way people can help is pitch me guests, man. Like let me know on Twitter who you want to come on the show. We'll try to get them. What you think works, what you think doesn't, all that sort of stuff. I am generally pretty good at getting negative feedback. Even like I've had people say like, you know, like some of the interviews I talk too much and I should let the guests talk more. And I consume that feedback and I'm like, yeah, I probably should. I should let the guests talk more. I'm not the best interview in the world. I understand that. We'll work on that. But yeah, give me some, you know, there's someone out there that's, I want this show I do want to go after LeBron James. I would love to have LeBron James on this show and talk to him about everything in his life and his career and all that. I would love for this show to someday have LeBron James on it. But I also want to continue to give guys like Coleman Crawley and guys like NIT Stu, I want guys like that to come on the show who are passionate about what they're doing and I think are interesting and all that sort of thing. So if there's somebody that you think, or like if there's just people in sports media that you're like, dude, I can't believe, like I think you would vibe well with this guy, whatever, I want to have him on. Well, him or her. Nicole Auerbach was great, by the way. Was that the first woman we had on the show? Was she the first woman?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
gotta
she was.
Be right.
Yeah, yeah. She was fucking. I thought we vibed great. I'm gonna bring her back for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's somebody out there that you think would be great on the show, let me know and I'll try to get them on and we'll have some fun talking about whatever it is they're interested in.